Hi everyone, this is Ziyuan Guan in the University of Florida. So this is my study of the speech recognition for the spring 2019 semester, and this is my final presentation. So firstly, let me introduce you guys the topic of my project. I'm trying to figure out the problem of the speaker recognition. So let me introduce it first. Speaker recognition is identification of a person whose characteristics of voices. It is used to answer the question like who is speaking. Recognizing the speaker can simplify the task of translating speech in systems that have been trained on specific voices, or it can be used to authentic or verify the identity. Especially for the meeting places, for the people who wants to enter his house, he could use his voice as the identification. So below this is a picture show the speaker recognition. So firstly, I searched online and find some articles about the speaker recognition. So mainly I studied two of them. The first one is called the Text Independent 3D Convolutional Speaker Recognition. This article is written by the three researchers from the West Virginia. So they apply the 3D convolutional neural network to train the model and then to extract the features of the voice. The feature extraction could be divided into several steps, like from the raw data they did it with the MFEC algorithms, and then they find the frames of each voice. So with the frames of the voice, they could put them into as an input file, and they input the frames into the model, and then after training, they could get the big model who can identify the persons. So in this model, the 3D convolutional neural network could contain more details of the sound features because it's 3D. So before we use the 2D convolutional neural network in the image processing, if we upgraded to the 3D, we could add the details by the time. It means we could get the both enrollment and the evaluation at the same time, because the input files for both of them is the same. The system could also run much faster than the normal like deep learning neural network models. Except that the feature extraction here is also better since it uses MFEC except the MFCC, because MFCC like the mail function extraction conclusion, it needs to use the whole features of the voice. But here, if we use the MFEC, like to have the power of the log, we could keep the local features to make sure the 3D convolutional neural network is working very well. So next, I also read the articles from the Baidu AI lab. So the persons in the Baidu who they try to find the deep speaker, they try to use a deep learning method to do the speaker recognition. So it is an end-to-end neural network and mostly based on the ResNet. The feature extraction here and the VAD algorithm was applied. So the VAD means the voice activity detection. The advantage of this article is that the neural network did not use the complicated architecture of the networks, but just the normal deep learning networks. With the application of the triplet loss, the performance is pretty well. So as we can see from the pictures, they put the voice and then divide it into mini batches. And after the front processing, they got the VID and the MFCC, which means it get the extraction of the features. And then they put the features vectors into the deep architecture. After the neural network, they could calculate the average sentence, and after the normalization, they could find the loss of the model. And this, after that, we could get the feature vector to represent the speakers. So now for me, I do some my own experiments with my own model. So firstly, to test with my own model, I use the data from the Voxelable. And this is free, but since the data is too large, so I only use the quarter of it to test my models. And in my demo, most of the codes are written in Python, and this is an abundant library could be used during the experiments. Firstly, we need to do the voice activity detected, just like we need to know which part of the voice is real. like you could see from the pictures, the first one means all of them is the speech. There is no noise. And the second thing you could find, the blue parts is the like silence and the noise. Only the orange place shows the voice of the person. So this step is very important to clear the silent parts of the sound. Since most of the data is noise free, so I just use the easiest way to calculate the power of each frame and clean the part whose power is under the threshold. As you can see from the picture, like the last one, with a long spectrum tested algorithm, we could tell the probability of the voice. Like, because we can know overlap places, we could find the best value of the voice to put into the model. So next step is MFCC's feature extraction. Feature extraction is very important things. We need to have a feature vector to represent the specific person. So this function is widely used for this task. There will be several steps of this. Like we need to first input the raw data as the first picture show, and then we do the pre-emphasis. We make the frequency of the voice more specific, and then we frame it with the different windows, and also we do the fast Fourier transform to make it have the we're gonna have the pictures of the power and the frequency. And then after filter banks and the discrete constant transform, we could get the feature vector of the input voice. And after that, we have the feature vectors. We could train them into the model for the verification. So here I use the Gaussian mixture model. This is very common and useful to make it perform better. I use the k-means to initialize the Gaussian distribution, because if we just use a random initialization, it's not so accurate. The experiment results are shown below. So the first picture, I used the Capstrums equals 15, while the second is 18. From pictures, we could see like when we have the higher Capstrums, the accuracy of the model is a little bit better. And also from different, like if we use different number of speakers, we could see like under 100 speakers, the performance is a little bit better, but after the 100 number of the speakers, the performance is dropping very quickly and rapidly. And also the other comparison. So except like consideration with the number of speakers, we also need to consider different speaking environments. So the first one here is reading voices, and the second one is noisy voices. We can see from the pictures, because the reading voices have many like more phonomons. It means the powers of the voice is not like average. It has much difference between each other. So we can see there are many like the peaks and the valleys inside the pictures, and also in the noisy voices, because there is some noise is out of the threshold, so the VAD algorithm could like satisfy it wrongly. So the results, when there are more power in the frames, the sound will be unstable, as you can see from the picture 1. While for the second pattern, noise will interface VAD and MFCC functions. The valid points reflect the overfitting of the model. But overall, on the 115 speakers, the model works like very well. With the increasing of the number, the performance will drop rapidly. So let me show you guys the demos, like how to train and watch the results of the model. So here, since I have some like friends help me do this, I recorded 7 people's voices as my raw data, and I put some data outside as the test data. So firstly, we use this function to train the models. We could see if the frame is too long, actually the function could like cut them into several parts, and all of the videos will be enrolled in the modeling. So after enrollment, we're gonna have the model whose name is the model demo. We're gonna also use the model demo to test, like to predict our test data to see the evaluation of it. it takes a little bit of time. So here we have 7 students whose name is like Cindy, Cars, Crystal, Ray, Bristake, Chester, and something. So you can see here we take actually 44 seconds to train the model and enrollment of all of the videos, and then we need to predict this model with our test videos. So we change the comments here. Let's see the results of the models. So we can see here for the first test data, it's called the test Chester. The results is Chester, and also the same as Gullier, Bristake, Crystal, like the test, like the car. Oh, right here we got 2 mistakes. So the car test has mistaken to the Crystal. That's true. But most of it's correct. And also, except the evaluation of the model, we also got the scores of each labels. Yeah, this is the demo of the model running. So let me put the summary and conclusion of this project. In this project, I studied some articles about the speaker recognition and found the essential steps to enroll and predict the speakers by sounds. I also developed my own experiments with VoxClip database. So by comparing with different situations, I figured out the better configuration of the model and the feature extraction. During the process of experiments and analysis of the results, I found that the consideration of parameters are very important. Since the speaker recognition is a sensitive problem, the feature vector should be exactly splendid, especially in the case of hundreds of student speakers. The speaker recognition has been developed for a couple of years, from a traditional hidden Markov model to MFCC extraction and deep learning models. The performance is much higher and working properly under various environments. For the next step, I will try to combine the speaker recognition with the speech recognition to rebuild a whole system. For now, since for now more and more intelligent assistants are used, so the real intelligence should not only know who said, but also what they said and follow the comments. Thank you for guys.